1425, Portuguese sailors had reached the west coast of Africa. One of their early sailors entered this great river of the Itsekiris, known as Ugborudu and Madawo, in present-day Delta State of Nigeria. They bought their first slaves on this river by barter, all of them females, and named the Ugborudu River Rio de Escravos, Portuguese for the River of Slaves. Slave brutality on these rivers began with the early Portuguese as far back as the 15th century. The sick and stubborn slaves detected on board their ancient caravelas, they threw on board these rivers. Do you know that the coastal Itsekiris of the western Niger Delta had a long interaction with Portuguese, even after the Portuguese had left the west coast of Africa in the 16th century? An early Itsekiri was already in Portugal. In the year 1728, he attended an early Portuguese school in the Portuguese town of Cumbria. He married a Portuguese, and the union gave them a half-caste who became king of Itsekiri. His name was Dom Domingo, the first Itsekiri king to be addressed as Ogiame Atuase I. After a period of over 320 years came Atuase II. This present-day Olu of Warri, Ogiame Atuase II.
The Itsekiris of old were traders, merchants, middlemen. Traders, what I say trader, any article of trade goes. Alright, so one doesn't have to go into the history of the various trades. If you want to take, for instance, during the slave trade, Itsekiris were middlemen. Well, from hinterland, people who want to sell their whatever article, either their keys or whatever, you bring them, we buy. And when the foreigners come, we sell to them. When the foreigners want to bring their items of articles of trade down, we buy and we sell to those who come from the hinterland to buy.
This is Ode Itsekiri, also known as Big Warri. The traditional headquarters town of all Itsekiris, with relics of their early contact with the legendary 15th century Portuguese. The first Portuguese church in Africa, built by Capuchin priests, known here as Capella. This wood carving of a half woman, half fish, with the inscription Mary on it, was said to be by the Portuguese.
The fish like usual. Okay. You want to turn to one side the human being, one side the fish.
Okay, now which people build them?
But for all days,
Nah.
the Portuguese then catch them, the Portuguese then bring this thing.
Okay.
Portuguese.
Okay. How long when Portuguese, when I stay with Portuguese? The wife of one of the early 20th century Itsekiri kings, in this 1988 film clip, enjoying her game of the local chess. I was on the Ebrohimi River, and that's me in this 1989 film clip, 95 years after Ebrohimi was attacked by the British in 1894. Nana Olomu's dream kingdom.
Well, you're here down to the creek leading to Nana Olomu's great Ebrohimi. And this creek was actually built by Ebrohimi's Nana slaves in those days of his influence.
In 1989, it was still a desolate creek village of mostly the very old. Nana Olomu's surviving cousin, the eldest of all in Ebrohimi. Then, in 1989, this woman, a close relation of Nana Olomu, who was at Nana's funeral in 1916. Nana Olomu of the Itsekiri was called Nana Governor by his people. His only surviving son, Robert Ate Nana, in this 1989 film clip.
You see, with the fall of Nana, the glory of the Itsekiri sank.
Okay.
You see, with the fall of Nana, the glory of the Itsekiri sank. And it will have been a very...
Yes. The glory sank in what way, sir?
You see, when Nana was alive, as governor of the oil rivers, he was with all tribes in the oil rivers. The then last Olu died, Ikemba the first, 1848.
Okay.
No Olu on the throne, perhaps because of the tyrannical hard rule. The Itsekiri resolved not to have Olu again. The Itsekiri land being ruled by plutocrats, people of wealth and power.
Okay. Beautiful.
Nana himself was born 1842, so about 6 years before the then last Olu died.
The British officer who captured him, who led the operations against him,
yes.
You still remember his name?
Sir Ralph Moore.
Good.
Sir Claude MacDonald was the consul general. When they invited him to come into the worship for discussion, luckily had a relative who was moving with them, whose mother, Itsekiri, the father, a British. Herbert Lack sent a private message to Nana not to obey the call, for if he did, he would be kidnapped. King Jaja of Opobo was kidnapped in 1887. Nana didn't obey the call. Immediately Nana failed to obey the call. Sir Claude MacDonald, the consul general of the oil river, went on leave. On leave that he went for the machination of Nana's fall. For he said, we have been confronted with another Jaja. Now Sir Ralph Moore became the acting consul general.
For the first time on television, the great Itsekiris of the historic Niger Delta, King Jinua, Olomu, Donuma, Shanomi, and Nana Governor, all these and more on Kings and Kingdoms of the Niger.